Welcome everyone to the closing conversation for the Atala College of Educational Studies First Education Prize, or ePrize. The three-year collaborative project among Anaheim Union High School District, El Sol Science and Arts Academy, and Santa Ana Unified School District began in 2018. June 2021 marks the official end of ePrize 1. And so we've decided to gather the collaborators together to mark this moment, to reflect on what's transpired, and to share lessons learned and insights gained. And before we jump into this exciting conversation, I also want to take a few moments to acknowledge some important individuals. First are Andy and Pam Horowitz, whose vision and investment in the ePrize 1 really has made this even possible. Second is Dr. Margaret Grogan, Dean Emerita and Professor of Education Leadership in the Atala College. The entire Atala College team who does a lot of behind the scenes work, Cheryl Baltes, Ergie Heim, and Dominic Trin. My co-host and co-moderator today, Mark Percy, for really being a key player in facilitating the first ePrize collaborations. And then finally, for our three sites, Anaheim Union High School District, El Sol, and Santa Ana Unified School District, who really seized this opportunity and took on the first ePrize challenge. So grateful for all of you to be a part of this experience as well as today's conversation. And so now I'd like to hand it over to Mark Percy, who will discuss and share briefly about the intentions of the first ePrize.
Thank you very much, Michelle. And it's wonderful to be with all of you and so many colleagues that worked on this great project together. The intention originally was to encourage innovation and excellence across the public school system. And the idea was to begin to bring together around a group of roundtables the community and get their input. And out of that came the ePrize idea to really reward excellence and solicit from the school districts what was happening of excellence that could be replicated and expanded and scaled. So that process occurred. We had 6 proposals that were evaluated by an independent panel of judges. And then eventually, the team that you've heard with Anaheim Union High School District, Santa Ana Unified School District, and El Sol, the Science and Arts Academy, were successful in coming together and giving a proposal on parent engagement initiative, which you will be hearing about. Thank you.
I am so excited that we have here today representatives from Anaheim Union High School District, El Sol Science and Arts Academy, and Santa Ana Unified School District. And so I'd like to briefly introduce them now. We have Monique Davis, who's the Executive Director of El Sol Science and Arts Academy, Sarah Flores, who's the Director of Community Life at El Sol, and Jenny Zavala, who's the Director of Curriculum and Instruction at El Sol. And then from Anaheim Union High School District, we have the Superintendent, Mike Matsuda, and Diana Fujimoto, who's the Curriculum Specialist. And last but not least, from representing Santa Ana Unified School District, we have Dr. Rigo Rodriguez, who's been the lead and liaison for Santa Ana Unified School District and who currently is the president of the Santa Ana Board of Education. To begin our discussion, we're going to start with our colleagues from Anaheim Union High School District. Because the concept of parent engagement and some really exciting activities around parent engagement really was introduced to the rest of us through our colleagues at Anaheim Union High School District. And so Mike and Diana, would you be willing to talk a bit about what parent engagement looks like in your particular district, and what has transpired over the years, and as you think about parent engagement in your district moving forward, What do you envision? What do you see?
Sure. Thank you, Michelle. Great question. So at Anaheim Union, we really are very proud of our robust parent engagement. We have, I think, over the years have established several opportunities for parents to be engaged. I think our most what I think we are most proud of are our reflective learning walks, our parent reflective learning walks. And so having those systems and structures in place for for parents to go into the classrooms and see what 21st century teaching and learning looks like, inviting them in to be part of those conversations pre-pandemic really set the stage for us during this pandemic year. So even though we were not in the face-to-face classroom, because we did have those systems and structures in place for parents to be in the classrooms and seeing what should be happening in the classroom. When the pandemic hit, we were able to pivot pretty quickly, and we have virtual parent learning walks. And so those parent learning walks are there really to empower our parents, to help them understand what a robust 21st century classroom should look like. And if it's not happening, or if they have questions or concerns, those parent learning walks are there to help empower them so that they feel comfortable being able to advocate for their children in the classroom. And so that's one aspect of our parent engagement in AUHSD. With that, we also have our LCAP process, and I think our superintendent was going to maybe speak to that piece a little bit.
I do want to add something, Diana, of that we have, prior to the pandemic, we had the parent learning walks at every single site, involving literally thousands of parents across the district. And when we shifted, we also trained our 1,200 teachers on the National Online Learning Standards. So because we had the structure in place, we're able to front load the parents in terms of what they would be looking for. And we call them the 3 pillars of online standards: building community, having sort of a common template, right? So, because otherwise parents and students were really confused, and then really focused on engagement, using the learning management system in a way that engaged kids. So I think that was really something that was effective in terms of the structure coming into the pandemic, was really effective moving forward. I think that one of the pieces that we realize, especially through this collaborative, is the importance of the LCAP at the sites. And this is something I know that Santa Ana has really taught us, right, in terms of the collaborative, that the site LCAP activity was really, really important, because we do a great job in terms of the district-wide parent involvement, involving hundreds of parents at the district over 3 months. But having that more granular LCAP piece has been really important, and really one of the takeaways from this ePrize collaborative effort. I think the other piece too is the learning about the concept of community schools, both through the El Sol and what's going on in Santa Ana. So creating those spaces for us to learn from each other has been very powerful in terms of some of the outcomes.
Thank you for those insights, Diana and Mike. Wanted to ask one follow-up question to the work that you're doing on parent engagement. And so, we couldn't have expected what would have happened this past year. And because of the work that you had already had in place, and even some of the structures and the relationships that you had built with teachers and with parents in the community, it helped to pivot, like you were just sharing, to this new way of engaging virtually. as you're looking forward, do you have some thoughts on what parent engagement might enable Anaheim Union High School District to do moving forward? What are some thoughts, even some ideas or some ways that you might be dreaming about parent engagement in the future?
Well, I think we have a lot in common with Santa Ana, our colleagues from Santa Ana, in terms of the effect of COVID in urban areas like Anaheim and Santa Ana. And it did expose systems, institutions, whether it's school districts, county supervisors, all of the levels of governance. It exposed us in terms of the gaps that existed. But also, I think, exposed systems in terms of the levels of trust by community. And I think that having the parent engagement already in place put us in a position of pretty high levels of trust, right? And now that we're putting out vaccines and we're putting out all this, the testing and stuff like that, I think that both districts have done a pretty good job of building on that community trust, which is needed. We are moving forward, as I said earlier, we intend to really build out our community schools. And I think that because the pandemic has forced institutions to work more collaboratively, including nonprofit institutions, we're in a much stronger position moving forward to build vibrant community schools and neighborhood types of schools and expanding services. So I think that that's a huge takeaway out of all of this, that we are in a much stronger position than, let's say, some of our other colleague districts, out of learning from each other and really going back to the importance of parent engagement, which has built trust in our public schools at this pivotal juncture.
Great. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Diana. So we have now our colleagues from El Sol Science and Arts Academy, Monique, Sarah, and Jenny. And, you know, one of the hallmarks and really kind of innovative and distinctive features of El Sol is how embedded in the community your school is. And so we were thrilled to be able to have you be a part of this first ePrize that was centered on parent engagement, knowing that you've already have had established relationships with local communities. Can you speak a little bit about what your experience has been over the last several years in particular around further integrating parent engagement into the work that you're doing? And then if you can also speak a bit about what you are foreseeing as the future of parent engagement for El Sol.
Thank you, Michelle. I think you started off by saying the correct words that describes El Sol Academy. We are truly a community school where we rely heavily on different partnerships. And it came to no surprise to us when we saw this grant opportunity with Anaheim Union to formally call our parent engagement process the Parent Learning Walks. We have always welcomed our parents into our school, an open door policy where they can come in, ask questions, visit the classrooms, help out and support the teachers in the classrooms in different ways. The Parent Learning Walks just made it formal and more directed into what they were going to be learning in the classrooms as they visited their child's classroom. We are a school that believes in the whole child. We support the whole child. We by offering wraparound services and fostering their learning, but also supporting the parent, because they cannot do it alone and we cannot do it alone. We need them, and through a collaboration with the parents, teachers, administration, and the student, we are able to better support the child.
I'd like to echo what Sarah has said, but also add the idea that from its inception, El Sol has really been grounded in the focus that parents are partners. And that can be defined in so many different ways, but particularly as they relate to the parent learning walks, is parents as partners in the learning, right? So we shift from this idea that sometimes parents can be spectators to the learning experience, but they have, in the parent learning walk, they move from spectator to truly an active participant in the learning, regardless of that parent's educational attainment level. So it really was about equitable access to the classroom, to the learning experience in a way that was comprehensible to all families, regardless of background, regardless of experience. And so it really showcased what Sarah had highlighted, this idea of, yes, we are a community school, we focus on the whole child, but we're also inviting you into this space that oftentimes parents shy away from for whatever reason. And so we're really proud to have been able to achieve that or take that to the next level, because we've had great systems in place. Our families have extraordinarily high levels of trust in the work that we do. As it relates to the teachers, it's the area that I primarily focus on. And so they have really high respect for the teachers, the work that's happening in the classroom. And so now being able to be directly involved in this process has really just tied everything together. So we're very grateful and very happy with the outcomes.
I think the word trust keeps coming up. We've heard that with our colleagues at Anaheim Union High School District, and I'm sure we'll hear more of that even with from Rigo and Santa Ana Unified School District. The idea of parents as being partners and parents as being partners in the learning, I think is such a great way and almost a shift in terms of how we think about engaging families and engaging parents in particular. Monique, would you be willing to share a bit about kind of looking ahead about other ideas of what parent engagement may look like or mean for El Sol, say in the next 5 to 10 years?
In terms of the now and our response and our preparation for the pandemic and our distance learning, we also felt prepared based on our parent learning walk experience to take parents to the next level with distance learning. And we did receive a grant, and we have been doing some work this year to introduce parents to those same sort of expectations of what they should be looking for in the distance learning. How to, as beginning with things like how do you logged on and engaged and doing what they're supposed to do, but also are you getting what you expect from the teachers? What is that supposed to look like? And I think that our colleagues from Anaheim described that really well, and we've been able to do similar work also using the base we got from the parent learning walks, integrating that into this next curriculum. And I think as we go forward with additional unknowns about what will the fall look like, what will next school year look like, what will the years following look like, having structured opportunities for parents to be involved and engaged will continue to be important. If we have to have distance, if we have to have limited opportunities, as Sarah had said, we're sort of this open door, parents are coming in and out, and there's a real fluidity to the environment. Well, less so. We've been open. We have 600 students on campus now as part of our hybrid, but we don't have parents on campus. So understanding how to digitally continue to provide distance opportunities for parent engagement will continue to be important. Outdoor learning, some of the playful learning landscape ideas that we have coming up, how to involve parents in that. We will continue to use the frameworks and the structures that we learned in this project and layer them onto the work that we do in the future. But for sure, we will continue to place value in that partnership and understand that we're all interconnected in this process, and we all have the same goal of wanting success for the students that we serve.
Thank you, Monique, and thank you, Jenny and Sarah, for the insights into the work specifically on parent engagement at El Sol. And so now we'll shift over to hear from Rigo Rodriguez and Santa Ana Unified School District. So I'm so glad that we have a chance to hear from you today, Rigo. It's my understanding that there's some really exciting work that's being done at Santa Ana Unified School District that has emerged from some of the discussions and the insights gained from both El Sol as well as Anaheim Union High School District on parent engagement. So can you bring us up to speed? Where was parent engagement in Santa Ana Unified several years ago? And then where are things now and what's coming down the pipeline in the future?
Sure. Thanks, Michelle, for inviting us to be part of this discussion. And with respect to parent engagement in Santa Ana, I want to start off by saying that the district, just like El Sol and Anaheim Union High School District, our district also has lots of parent engagement. We survey our parents constantly. We engage parents through our local control planning process. And we have lots more involvement of parents, of course, at the lower grades than the upper grades. And of course, parent engagement varies by site. We have over 56 or 55 locations or schools in our district. So we have lots of parent engagement. But through this project, one of the key areas that I was looking at is not so much having quantity, but quality, right? It's not just the amount of engagement, it's the type of engagement and how deliberate we can be about our parent engagement. And so most of our parent engagement is what I would consider basic. It's important, but it's still basic. Much of the parent engagement still is around how to support your child in the home setting, like when they do homework and things like that. And also about knowing your rights and very important things, but very little of that parent engagement is really about parents entering the school system, entering the actual classroom, and being able to discern the quality of instruction, So being able to understand what these 5 C's are, or this 21st century learning, was really qualitatively very different than what we have had in the past. And in addition to that, the other thing that is really critical for us is that if you look at Anaheim Union High School District and a lot of the work that El Sol does, there is a kind of leadership development ladder that is able to take a parent who's involved in the site-specific work and be able to help that parent develop their leadership skills over time. What I call this the difference between parent engagement versus parent empowerment. Parent engagement versus parent empowerment, in the sense that parent engagement speaks to participation. How are parents participating? But qualitatively, it doesn't tell us about the effect or the outcome of that. And so parent empowerment is more about what I see at El Sol and Anaheim Union High School District. And so for us, this project is shifting our way of looking at parent engagement so that it is inclusive of and linked to the quality of instruction of the child and the teacher particularly around 21st century learning. And then secondly, more about empowerment than only parent engagement. And so empowerment is really about, through this process and through supports that we offer to parents, making sure that they redefine their role from supporting and helping, and expanding that to having a clear role and more power in terms of what schools do and what our district does. And so to kind of close my thoughts here, this is why the parent learning walks from Anaheim Union High School District as a best practice was really important to me, because it combines both of those elements that I mentioned, and it forces us to stretch our system beyond what we do already to what we ought to do, because we know that when parents are empowered and they can master the conditions of their life and they can master the conditions of the education of their child, the children that we serve will be much better off. So those are really important insights for me, and I'll say later a little bit more about where we're going with this if you'd like.
Fantastic. Thank you, Rigo.
So we want to talk about collaboration today, because that was one of the primary goals of the entire project, ePrize. And we'll start with Mike, because Mike, as I remember, you were an instigator in bringing this, this coalition together. So what do you want to share with us about the whole collaboration process that you experienced during the project?
I think it's been a really great collaboration in terms of meeting Monique and her staff, as well as Rigo and our friends in Santa Ana. As I mentioned earlier, the demographics of our two districts are very similar, and the challenges are very similar. And then, of course, it all exacerbated over the pandemic. But, as we pivot, I think that, learning from El Sol, and it is a community school, has been huge for us. And of course, the work that Santa Ana has done with parents, especially in the elementary levels, and teaching the parents and empowering the parents to speak up about their version of community schools. I mean, these are huge insights for us in terms of our takeaways. And I think going forward with both the feds and the state pushing out resources to build community schools, I'm definitely going to be talking to Monique and Rigo moving forward.
That's great, Mike. Thank you very much. Rigo, let's switch over to you, and just, you are an incredible collaborator as long as I've known you, and the role that you play in Santa Ana is phenomenal. What do you want to share with us about collaboration and how you view it and how you approach it?
Well, one thing that stands out to me very strongly about this collaboration is that when we enter into collaboration, it shouldn't just be for the sake of collaboration. It needs to be very intentional. And here we had a very intentional project, which is around how do we adapt practices, best practices that are in a different LEA, or now I'm blanking out on LEA, lead educational agencies, or districts, right? If something is working well in one district or one LEA, how do we move it into another LEA, correct? And all for the purpose of serving better students that, as Mike mentioned, demographically are very underserved. So because of that intentional approach, we really took kind of a two-part approach. One is making sure that we as school leaders and district leaders, LEA leaders, we're meeting regularly to establish relational trust, right? We know each other, but around ongoing meetings, visiting each other's campuses, learning from each other was really important. But the second thing that I think is really important is to be able to anchor that collaborative in a very concrete project. And in this case, the project was, how do we actually implement parent learning walks as a practice into our specific LEAs? And so working at both levels, I thought was really instrumental because not only do we sit down and talk to each other, but we actually have a project that we know already works. And so it just makes the process of making sure it works well that much more meaningful. In our case, we implemented the parent learning walks at Esqueda, and now we're going to scale it up to 20 of our elementary schools. But we can't scale it up unless we test it first and we kind of learn from others. And so without this collaboration, we would not be able to scale up with confidence this project, because we are unique, just like each of the LEAs. So those are the two lessons for me around collaboration: being very intentional, being very intentional on building constant meetings with each other, or points of touch points where we can learn from each other, but then also very specifically around a project. With the consulting and coaching that we got from Anaheim Union High School District, and then our peer-to-peer learning from Esqueda and El Sol, I think all of that was just a very rich environment within which to advance the best practices in the school district.
Yeah, it was, and I witnessed that. Monique, tell us, you were the only independent charter school in the coalition, and what surprised you about the collaboration process? The parts that were easier than you thought, and maybe the parts that were more difficult than you thought?
I saw the collaboration in sort of 3 separate buckets, as my colleagues had mentioned. There was this institutional collaboration where we, the 3 of us, while we had similar demographics, similar values in terms of the way we understand community and what we wanted to do, but different in size, different in structure, different in grade level spans, and different certainly in size. Mm-hmm. So that was a piece that was really interesting to me, and one that I saw that was probably potentially the most challenging. Then there was this programmatic collaboration that was around, as Rigo said, the application of these best practices in different sites, so that we all are able to execute on something that we know has great value for families and for the educational process. And then thirdly, the relational collaboration. This one, I think, ultimately was the most rich for us. We really enjoyed meeting Diana and Ruben. They were a lot of fun. They had a lot of passion for the work, and those were the first interagency relationships. And for them to be so positive and fruitful, allowed us to build on the trust that everybody keeps talking about as the relationship with Esqueda opened up and so forth. Yeah. So we're really happy. And finally, I would say, we know that there's a research component to this, and there will be work that comes out of there that we can all learn from the outside observers who can tell us what they saw about the way that we work together and the programmatic implementation and et cetera. So it was good for us, and I'm pleased to have been a part of it.
Well, thank you all, and thank you as leaders to honor, as you did, the intent of the Horowitz's gift. And because it took your leadership from the very top, and actually the excellence of your team also. I was in some of those sessions, and the mutual respect that existed between all sides in the project as it got going and then throughout was exemplary. So thank you very much.
To wrap up, I'd like to ask each of our colleagues on today's panel to share with us an insight gained, a lesson learned, or even an unexpected outcome from being a part of this process.
I think this grant opportunity gave us the opportunity to reach across sort of invisible barriers between large districts and large communities, as well as the small charter schools. I think that's really something that broke new ground in Orange County to build this institutional relational capital that began with leadership. So I'm really proud to be part of this ePrize, because I do think there's going to be some ongoing benefits to our communities in Santa Ana and in Anaheim moving forward?
So I think because we had the opportunity to train others, I think when anybody is given that opportunity, when you train others, you become better yourself, right? And so given the opportunity and the space to work with and learn alongside colleagues from across districts, from across organizations, it just helps you become better, to reflect on your work and just to become better at whatever it is that you're working on. And really at the end of the day, when you think about it, it really is about growth. You know, what we can do to create a more robust learning environment for our students, and also to develop that learning environment, that welcoming environment for our parents, where they feel they have a voice, and where they feel they are active and empowered and part of the school community. So this opportunity to work with El Sol and Santa Ana, really, even though, you know, we were the trainers in the beginning, but we gained so much from their partnership, and look forward to continued, you know, partnerships similar to this one.
For me, I think that collaborating with Anaheim Union and Santa Ana Unified, we are in the district. We serve 75% of our families are coming from Santa Ana. And earlier when Superintendent Matsuda said that, you know, we share the similar demographics, similar students, and similar barriers. And I think it's time for us not to work in silos anymore, but to continue to work together, because at the end of the day, we are serving students, we are serving the community, we are here to improve the education of all students. And it is not just the students that come to our school, but just to empower our community, to empower our parents, and to empower our students to be better citizens, because at the end of the day, they are going to come back and be a part of our community.
So I think I'd like to start by, again, expressing the sentiment that all of the colleagues on this call have expressed, is tremendous gratitude for being able to be a part of this process. But more importantly, the opportunity to learn from people who were truly authentic and genuine. Anaheim Union came to us, and we went to them as well. And so that reciprocity of relationship, and also learning from Santa Ana Unified, but having the opportunity to be mentored, even as leaders, we still need to look to others for expertise. We need to look to others to also highlight things that we need to grow upon. Not any one institution knows all of the answers or has everything figured out. I'd like to also highlight that for our teachers specifically, the teacher reflective learning walk piece, as it relates to parents, and this idea of having somebody come into your classroom, regardless of whether you have an open door policy or not, really had long-lasting effects. There's still a lot of conversation around the experience. In fact, when we had our friends from the Netherlands come and visit, we actually took them through that process. And so it was very, very inspiring to be able to then share what we had learned with somebody else. The final thing is, as with any initiative or any new program or any new movement, the danger is that sometimes we look for replication, but we don't really take a step back and think about, well, how does this fit into what we're currently doing? But this process was so natural that I think from the beginning, Diana, Jackie, and Ruben made it very clear. This is what we're doing. This is how we've done this. But we want you to think about, how does this fit into your current model? What are the things that you can take? What are the things that you can add on? What are the things that you can adapt so that it meets the needs of your community? And so that really stood out, and we're really, really happy that we were able to take that and be creative and be innovative, so that we could continue to deliver experiences not only for our teachers, but our parents and ultimately affect our students. So again, this process was very inspiring. It was very nice to be a part of this. So thank you to everyone.
I first would like to acknowledge and thank Andy and Pam Horowitz, who have been great friends to El Sol, and also as the funders of this particular initiative have put us in the position to have this wonderful experience. I also want to recognize and thank Chapman for being a great educational partner for many years, and to step out as the leaders in this project to partner with the Horowitzes and bring this opportunity to the Orange County community. So we were proud and pleased to be the first ones, and we're grateful to Andy and Pam and to Chapman.
So I also want to start by thanking Chapman University for always pushing the boundaries here around education and student achievement, and taking on a project like this that really is about innovation within our districts and within our lead educational agencies. And prior speakers and colleagues spoke about the ways in which it has impacted our work. And of course to Pam and Andy Horowitz, because in the end, you're the one who puts out resources and takes a chance on us. And I'm also very grateful to Mike and his team, and Monique and your team. I think collaboration around this project, specifically around implementing the parent learning walks, parent empowerment, and that really works when we are trying to build something together, right? We're trying to build something together. And in this case, we try to establish this practice in our specific schools, and having a proof of concept for our district, having something that actually we've implemented is critical, because once we prototype it, we can then scale it up across our district. So and it's just wonderful to see this becoming institutionalized across our systems. So again, thank you. And I'm so happy again that we invested this time. We've learned quite a bit, and I am I pledge my continued commitment to collaborating to bringing the best practices, best models of education to promote and boost student achievement for our families and our communities.
As we wrap up, I want to thank again Monique, Sarah, Jenny, Diana, Mike, and Rigo for being a part of today's panel, as well as a part of the collaboration over the past 3 years. We're so excited to see what will continue to come to fruition and transpire moving forward. And I really loved what Monique shared about this being an opportunity to engage in innovations in education, but it was an opportunity particularly to collaborate in unexpected ways with unexpected partners. And on behalf of the Atala College of Educational Studies at Chapman University, we also look forward to opportunities to engage in educational innovations and to collaborate in unexpected ways with unexpected partners to bring about greater equity in education and to serve students and families, especially those who need it the most. Thank you.